What's going on, people? Sorry I look like shit, man. I've had a super long day. But if some of you may have watched, I can't even talk today. As some of you may have watched my last video, I said that my next video was gonna be a comparison video between the Ddj-Sx from Pioneer and some turntables, some two techniques, and Rain 57. So in this video, I'm gonna go, what's better for who, the advantages of either or. And yeah, so let's go ahead and compare them. And I'm just gonna hold the camera, so it's gonna be a little hard to do. Hopefully, it's not shaky. First off, big differences is the SX is on Serato DJ, and right now I have a 57, so that's on Scratch Live. If some of you may have heard, Scratch Live is going to be discontinued very soon. There are going to be updates though until 2015. So if you have an SL1 or a 57, don't worry. Scratch Live completely is not going to shut down. It's just, you're going to get updated until, 2015. So don't worry, players and players, for all you Scratch Live fans. Now Serato DJ now has DVS, support. So if you have an SL2, SL3, SL4, or Rain 62, Rain 61, and up, you're good for Serato DJ. Now, as far as mobile DJs, I recommend a SX. Just reason being, mobile, you want to be more mobile. You don't want to lug around heavy equipment all the time. Nowadays, especially with speakers and lights, everything's getting lighter and smaller, but has a better output. Same thing with controllers. What I do like about the SX is that it has a standalone mixer. I'll get into my gripes in a little bit when I actually show the equipment. It has a standalone mixer, which is dope. So, if you have a CD player on the side or whatnot, you have multiple inputs that you could do that. It does require a power adapter because it is a standalone mixer. It can't just be USB powered like the SR. If you guys want to see a comparison video between the SR and the SX, just let me know. I got a buddy who just picked up the SR, and I'm pretty sure I can make it happen for you. Now, as far as feel, you can't. It's all personal preference. Me, I prefer platters to spin over jog wheels. Just because I think I've been on turntables for so long. Don't get me wrong, like I've spun on CDJs plenty of times, and I like the SX, and the jog wheels are extremely accurate. And you even have your touch sensor level, to make it more sensitive or less sensitive. But it's nothing like the feeling of vinyl on your fingertips. And the platter spinning, of course, so it's better for scratching and juggling and all that. You can put some markers on your records, to help with that. Now with the 57, you have basically all the same inputs that you would on the SX, actually. Yeah, that's basically it. On the SX, you actually get two mics. One thing I kind of don't like, though, is like the SX doesn't have a dedicated mic channel. You have to run it through a channel. That's not a huge gripe, to be honest. That's just me being a bitch. But yeah, you got two mics. You could actually run 4 decks on the SX, and it has the infamous sync button. Now, I think the sync button really gives. It just sounds bad. I think, to be honest, I'm not hating on any virtual DJ users. I'm sure like a lot of us have used it before. I know I did when I first started. But I think virtual DJ gave sync a bad name. Reason being, it had a beat sync where it would actually sync the beats together. Now in Tractor, there was a sync button way before Serato started adding a sync button. But in Tractor, it was just a master tempo sync. Now when used, what it's really used for is not. It's not used for just for you to be lazy. Because at the end of the day, all it's doing is eliminating you moving the pitch. In certain levels, when it's not a beat sync, it's just tempo sync, you still gotta throw it in on beat. I don't hate on sync at all. It's cool when you use it. What it's meant to be used for is used. It's meant to be used for you to be super creative and be able to throw all these different things in your mix and not have to worry about it being on time. Something that using it where you're actually pitch bending a lot and trying to keep everything in time. When you're doing so much, it could be hard. So that's what it's used for. So I'm gonna stop talking. Well, I'm gonna keep talking actually, but I'm gonna go ahead and show you the equipment, size differences, and all that shit. All right, hold up. You can see automatically the SX has this cool factor because when you turn it on, it lights up all dope. You know what I'm saying? And especially being in nightclubs or dark situations, you know, the more lights the better actually. You know, you got like 5-inch platters, not too big. I have a, you know, not the biggest hand in the world, but it's not too bad actually. You have your cue, your play, and then you have, you know, hot cues. I'm sure you guys have seen many review videos, so I'm not going to go full in depth. If you guys want an in-depth video, then I could probably give you one later because I know this thing like the back of my hand already. You got your hot cues, you know, roll, slicer, sampler, your volume fader. This is one thing I don't like. What I do like on the SR is that they gave it a, you know, a knob instead of a fader knob. Just reason being, I just think you don't need this. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could have just put it right here, but that's just me being a bitch. To be real. You got, you know, your tempos, which is cool. One thing that you'll see like on other controllers is they'll put the tempo like on this side, you know, and then the tempo on this side. They'll have them opposite. What's cool about this though, this is exactly like how a CDJ setup is. I know some people complain about, oh, you know, why is the tempo on this side? It should be on this side, you know, but it's exactly how you would have it if you had two CDJs. Now, one thing I really do like about this is on the standalone mixer is that you have these low and high pass filters, which is dope. They're really fun to play with, especially with, you know, the loop rolls and stuff. So you got everything you basically need on this. As far as outputs, you have balanced XLR outs for your masters. Your booth is a 1/4 inch, and you also have a booth master out. Sorry for that, it got all dark. And you have inputs for each channel. In order for you to switch, like if you want to plug in a CD player, it's right here in the front. Let's see if you can see that. You probably can't because my phone is being gay. But you know, you have this little switch in the front. You have headphone. You have a big jack for the headphone, and you have a small jack. Your crossfader curve is right here. These buttons actually pop out, or these knobs pop out, and then you have your touch sensitivity right here. Now, oh, and you also have loop rolls. So you have complete control over, you know, the software. Now, when you turn to turntables and a 57, you don't get most of that. If you want to trigger your, you know, your cue points and whatnot, it's gonna be tough. You can use these little buttons to do it, but I recommend, you know, maybe something like this. This is a MIDI fighter, which is cool to mess with because you have 4 pages that you can assign in the software. Now you get a much bigger, you know, 12-inch, of course, a 12-inch vinyl. Your pitches are up here, unless you rock them standard style, then your pitch would be right here. And yeah, it's the feel really. What you're going for is the feel. You have everything, all the same outputs and inputs that you do over there, except this has a dedicated mic, which is nice, and you have an EQ for it as well. So yeah, one thing this is also missing is the low and high pass filter, but you could set that up in your software. But it would be nice, you know, if you had it regular. Say if you're playing actual CDs or like, you know, vinyl. That's something that let me pull it out for you. That's something that the Z2 actually has, is the dedicated low and high pass filter. So yeah, that's basically the size comparison. You can see this is pretty big. I know in cases, battle style, it's right about 4 feet. If you have a 4-foot table, it'll fit right on the money. Now compared to this is a lot smaller. You can see, as I do that, you can see the size difference for sure. So yeah, this is more for the old school guy. Like, to be honest, if I could, I would leave these babies at home just so I could keep them as long as possible and really take care of them and not have to beat them up on, you know, taking them out all the time to gig. And I would take one of these bad boys, you know, to my gigs. Because, to be honest, you have all the inputs and outputs that you need, and you could do a bunch of stuff. Now, there's not as many pretty lights at all. So, yeah, like, to be honest, this is dope. You can never go wrong with this. This will always be around. People say, you know, techniques, you know, even though they don't make them no more, that, you know, you gotta look for a new turntable because they're gonna be pretty hard to find. I guarantee you, these will stay forever. I don't ever see people getting away from turntables. Ever. Ever. Now I'm saying, if you guys want to review a video on this with Serato, I could like do one as well. Just let me know in the comment section. Check out the spaghetti wires. That's not how I set up when I gig. Trust me, I'm very nitpicky about my wires. Now, I used to not be. I used to like how it looked when it was all messy. But yeah, this is a whole lot more setup, of course, because I use them in individual cases. So I gotta set them up all the time. And this is just plug and play. You plug in literally your power adapter, which is a brick, and your USB cable, and you're ready to go. So yeah. Now, let's talk about price. Now, you can find this, the cheapest I've ever seen, the SX, was on proaudiostar.com. It was like, I think it was like on a sale though. It was like $840, something like that. So I don't know if that's still going on, if that's still the price, but regular price is $1,000. Now they got a white one and they also got a gold one. So if I was you, might as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, might as well get a cool one because I know everybody in the mama got the black one. Now turntables, a used pair of Techniques. I seen most MK2s go for like $400 to $600, and not only that, then you're gonna have to buy needles. And if you're gonna buy some shirt, and for sevens, you're looking, you know, at like say like another $150 to $200, just for needles alone. Then you're gonna have to get a mixer, and then of course a Serato box. So it's a lot more expensive, but to be honest, a lot of people, once they get on turntables, it's the feel that makes them fall in love with it, because you really feel like you're doing something. You really feel like you're mixing. You really feel like, I don't know, it's a feeling that's hard to explain, but it's the feeling of turntables, really, I think, what makes people fall in love with them. Not saying that I don't feel the same way when I'm on a piece of gear like this, you know, like the SX. The SX is dope. The reason it's dope is because, like, I'm sure if most of you guys are on turntables, like when you throw it in, you always gotta like keep it in time. Always, you're always doing something to nudge it in time. And now with the SX, like if you hit, you know, the play button right on beat, you don't have to nudge it in time. It's on. You know what I'm saying? It's on beat. You could do other things. You could mess with the filters. You could mess with the loop rolls. You could mess with the slicer effect. It really makes you. It really brings out your complete creativity. Now, I give props for dudes that are dope on turntables and that can do all this stuff on turntables. But to be honest, nowadays, you got to embrace technology, because there's only going to be more things like the SX coming out. You know what I'm saying? There's only going to be more. Now you see it on mixers where they, like, especially the Reigns mixers, all have cue points on them. You know what I'm saying? So you really got to embrace technology. I feel like, you know, you can get lost though in the world and be, oh, I gotta get this new piece of kit because it has all these buttons on it. Because at the end of the day, say you're like, oh man, I'm looking at getting a MIDI controller or some turntables. You can't go wrong with turntables because it's a feel. You're gonna get a lot of good experience with them, and if you get good on beat matching on turntables, when you get on a controller, you're gonna be a monster. Straight up, you're gonna be like, oh my god, I could do all this now because I don't have to worry about keeping it in the time, and you could get real better. Like, you could become a better DJ. To be honest, I don't feel like you're losing anything. I only feel like you're gaining things, because there's things that I've done on the SX where I was like, okay, now how could I do that on my setup? You know what I'm saying? And that's where you add on a little MIDI controller on the side for buttons, or even, you know, you could rape the shit out of your keyboard. I mean, when it comes to cue points and loops and all that. So if say, you know, you're looking for your first setup or whatever, and it's between, you know, MIDI controllers and some turntables, to be honest, if you're trying to get into the club scene, I'd recommend turntables. Only reason being is you're gonna, you know, go and say you're guest spotting and you're gonna go off somebody else's setup. More than likely, they're gonna have turntables or CDJs. So if you could get some CDJs or some turntables, you know, at least you have the feel on them. If you get a MIDI controller, yeah, you're gonna learn how to beat match. But when you get on, you know, something that spins and a turntable that's not always, you know, keeping it in time, and you always gotta nudge it, you'll find yourself, you know, getting off beat and find yourself rushing a little bit and not as comfortable. So I'd recommend, you know, getting a good amount of experience on some turntables first, to be honest. Now, if you're into, you know, the house scene, which mostly now is CDJs, primarily CDJs, but you don't got the money for CDJs, of course, because 2000s or 2000. I'd recommend the SX for sure, for sure. I'd recommend a lot of MIDI controllers. To be honest, if they have a low pass filter, they're just built solid. You want something that's built solid. I'd recommend something that has a good amount of outputs and inputs. Well, not inputs, but outputs for sure. You want some XLR outputs, or at least balanced. If they could be 1/4 inch balanced. Reason being, you want the best audio coming out of your piece of equipment. Standard RCA is okay, but if you find yourself in situations where you're gigging somewhere, you're gonna have to get adapters in order to plug into different sound systems, and adapters are not cheap. I'll tell you that right now. Especially into RCA, they're a little bit more expensive from what I've seen at Guitar Center. Now, as a mobile DJ, I recommend the SX, just because it's light, it's compact. If you really just can't get away from your turntables, in keep them, man. There's no big deal about it. I mean, if the SX feels like a toy to you, then return it. I mean, if it's all on you at the end of the day. You can take whatever you want from this video. You know what I'm saying, or you can take nothing. It's really how you feel. You know what I'm saying. To be honest, I'm a gear whore. On all gear, I like to play with all gear. To be honest, there's never been a time when I've turned down a gig because they had a certain type of gear. That's just me, though. You know what I'm saying. I feel like I'm able to mix on most things because I've had so much time on turntables. So when I get on a MIDI controller, it's a lot easier, to be honest. Now another MIDI controller. Now, you might be like, okay, well, I don't got enough money for the SX, but I could get the SR, or I could get that new Pioneer SB that's coming out. And what's funny about the SB is when I seen the video for it, I said I felt bad for Newmark, because there goes all their Mixtrack Pro buyers. There goes that whole market. Because the SB is going to wipe them out. Nobody's going to want to get a Mixtrack no more, because the SB they're like, why not get a Pioneer then, Now, if you're looking at the SR, the SB, or say you're looking at the SR, right? It's what, $600? A controller that I would say I'd rather get other than the SR, and it's not a Pioneer, and I feel bad for this controller, reason being, let me tell you what it is first. The Ddj-Sx VCI 380. Now, when it came out, is before Serato DJ came out, right before the SX came out, and it was on itch. And it has performance pads. It has all kinds of feature pad effects, filters. It's a standalone mixer. It's a 2-channel controller, and it's made by Ddj-Sx, right? And it came out, I think, at a price point of like $800, $900, right? And like literally like 2 weeks later, the SX comes out and just completely outshadows it. Completely. Because the SX is shiny. It's made by Pioneer, better marketing. But right now they dropped the price of the VCI 380 to like $700, $600. So if you want a controller, because the SR is not a standalone mixer and it doesn't light up all cool on the jog wheel. So if that's like a big deal to you, if I was you, get a standalone mixer, or a MIDI controller that has a standalone mixer, and that's a VCI 380. So that's not one to sleep on if you want all the performance pads and all that. It has a booth and all that. The only my minor gripes with that controller is the booth and the mic control, I believe, or on the back side. So in the case, with the laptop stand on top, it might be kind of hard to reach back there in the dark. But other than that, that's just minor gripe. I'm sure you could get used to it. And now, of course, it has the update for Serato DJ. So I hope you found this video informative or whatever. So let me know what kind of video you guys want to watch next. I have a couple pairs of headphones, so I could probably do like a headphone comparison video on what I prefer and what not. Or I could do a SX versus SR or whatever you want, player. So let me know, comment down below, or hit me up on Facebook, whatever. So peace out, yo.